With an Antifa-aligned protest set for this weekend in Austin, Governor Greg Abbott has called up the National Guard. This is Friday, October 17th, 2025.
Texas Scorecard presents the day's first news for the Lone Star State. The Texas Minute, with your host, Michael Quinn Sullivan.
All right, we've made it to the end of the week. Thanks for spending part of your Friday with the Texas Minute. A super hub for the homeless in Houston has been temporarily put on hold because of community protests. More on that story coming up. Ahead of nationwide protests planned for tomorrow, Governor Greg Abbott is deploying the Texas Department of Public Safety and the Texas National Guard to Austin. The so-called No Kings event is linked to left-wing Antifa groups that have staged anti-Trump demonstrations across the country. Texas Homeland Security Division is also monitoring for potential links to extremist or terrorist organizations. You might recall that President Trump recently designated Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization. Similar demonstrations in June drew large crowds nationwide, including in major cities in Texas. Following up on a story from earlier this week, a state district judge has granted Attorney General Ken Paxton's request for a temporary restraining order against an Indiana man accused of orchestrating an illegal plan to take over Loving County by importing out-of-state voters with promises of free housing. The order bars Malcolm Tanner and anyone acting with him from allowing new residents onto the property purchased as part of the Indiana man's public plans to replace local officials and rename the county after himself. Paxton filed suit earlier this week against Tanner, accusing him of violating public health laws, running a public nuisance, and committing deceptive trade practices by luring his followers, mostly women and children, to a remote site in West Texas with false promises of free housing and monthly payments. The executive director of the Texas Racing Commission will be stepping down at the end of the year. No reason was given for Amy Cook's departure, though the agency has been criticized by lawmakers for operational and leadership deficiencies. A state auditor's report from last summer revealed a pattern of financial mismanagement at the Texas Racing Commission. For example, the TRC's horse industry escrow account contained more than $3 million in expenditures that lacked proper documentation, and the account funds had been used for unallowable purposes. The commission will be subject to sunset review in 2028 and 2029. The Texas Minute will be right back.
News and analysis on what's happening in Texas. End your day with daily headlines from Texas Scorecard. Every day at 5 p.m., join me, Brandon Waltons, as we recap the biggest stories of the day and talk about why they matter to you. Listen and subscribe to Daily Headlines from Texas Scorecard.
A heated city council meeting in Houston this week forced a delay on a $16 million proposal for a homeless super hub east of downtown as residents accuse city officials of ignoring neighborhood concerns. The proposed site was used as a migrant shelter until its lease expired in August. City officials say that with minimal renovation, it could provide 150 to 225 beds and include access to healthcare, psychiatric services, and substance abuse treatment. Despite being appraised at roughly $6.7 million, city officials were planning to spend $16 million to purchase the property and then up to $14 million annually to operate the services. Earlier this week, dozens of residents packed the city council chamber to voice concerns about the project. Residents described feeling dismissed and claimed city leaders were rushing the project without adequate transparency or neighborhood input. Mayor John Whitmire predicted the project would be approved when the council takes the issue up again this next week. You can find details on all the stories mentioned today and keep up with the latest news by visiting TexasScorecard.com. The Texas Minute is produced by Nick Shepard. Today's edition was based on the original reporting of Brandon Waltons, Paige Feld, and Michael Wilson. I look forward to seeing you out around the Lone Star State. Now go make it a great weekend.